Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Gary Butterfield Memorial Library. I'm embracing vertical mode. You can't, after you've uploaded a thing on YouTube, you can't change the orientation. Last time I thought turning it sideways would make it, figure it out. It didn't. I find it very unintuitive. And I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go vertical. Other people do it. I see videos that are vertical, I assume because of the influence of the tick and the talk. This is a little Cormit doll that my lovely fiance made for me for my birthday. I'm just using it as an opening image, so don't spoil what we're talking about today. Even though what we are talking about today is something we're going to do a lot on this program, which is pull out an old dragon magazine. I mentioned this before. I drove down to the suburbs and bought a huge lot of dragon magazines for very cheap from a woman who bought a hoarder house that was undoubtedly full of nerd shit that I would have liked. She was moving to Uruguay, and the only thing she had left was many, many bins and boxes of Dragon magazines, about 250 issues, which I bought. I love Dragon magazine. I read it when I was younger, way more than I actually ended up getting to play D&D. And what is not to love? There's a lot of, come on. There's just a lot to like about the sincerity of old Dragon magazines. The articles and the like in this, goodbye Wormy, are not that useful to me, but I find myself really drawn to these ads that I saw when I was younger that really, really spoke to me. And illustrations that were very fired my imagination. Okay, here's the thing. This here is a big table for populating a city. I think doing this sucks. The chance building exists 30%. Imagine going through here and doing all this, figuring out your city just by sitting down and rolling dice for an hour by yourself. I think that's a lame way to tell fiction. At the same time, there's something very appealing about the aesthetics of this this era specifically of D&D, largely because I was at the right age for it. This is a good mech. This is a bad mech, at least according to me. I don't like a thin mech. I like a big tank. But this, right? So Beyond Time, the Science Fiction Book Club. Some of these books I've read, but I used to just spend all of this time poring over this and just, I thought this said Aryan Rising. It's oh no! Poring over this and just imagining what it would be. And I know the reality is that a lot of this stuff is probably pretty underwhelming, even though Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials is awesome. A lot of this stuff is probably underwhelming. But the version of this that lived in my imagination as a kid is something I've really, really come to treasure. So I figured we'd just do a little flip through. There's also a lot of stuff that I did not know existed. And we talked about in the first episode how just finding stuff you did not know you wanted is the Thrift Hounds game, right? So I wonder what this is about. There's basically no way it's good, right? But it looks a little bit elevated. It doesn't look like the equivalent of a board game licensed platformer. Here's a bunch of fucked up little guys. So I don't know. It's neat. This is back in the 90s when we liked cops significantly more. It just made more sense. They were bad guys for your D&D characters, but fun bad guys. Gringle's Pawn Shop. If you meet me in Gringle, does this pawn shop have 10 rooms? like 14 rooms in it. If you meet me at Gringle's Pawn Shop, I will show you where the treasure is hidden. Um, so yeah, before the Star Wars like Renaissance. So this kind of West End Games had the license there. Um, I loved Marvel as a kid. I loved X-Men, but it never occurred to me. Oh, Dungeon Magazine. I also really love. I only have a few of these. They're rarer, at least in terms of like finding them in the wild. I don't think it came out less often. Um, but for the people who don't know, Dragon Magazine is this like supplemental material for dungeon masters, new classes, things like that. Whereas Dungeon Magazine was actual modules. These guys are badass. Like modules you could play, and some of them are actually pretty good. I remember reading some of them and enjoying them. Like this is something that like would be useful, running D&D. Largely text. Here's this guy and his horrible little brown Jenkin. Uh-oh. What's this about? Bertwig's Maze by Tom Wham. So this is a D&D. So this is based on this comic that is in the back of this magazine. We're going to get to that. This ends with like the funny pages. And oh, yes, this Gamma World. No, it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game. Back when the Turtles were like post-Holocaust Australia. Back when the Turtles were like grungy, used guns and shit. There's some titty. This is also something that I would have been pretty interested in as a teen. I would have been like, man, that air elemental. I wonder what band she's into. Yeah, I wonder if she'd like me. The fiction in these, even as a kid, I tried to like them. I felt like, oh, I like fantasy short stories. I should read all these, and then I would read them, and they're not super good. Typically, I'm sure there are some that are a little bit better. Fucking badass though, man. Less badass as you go, but that guy's pretty slick. Yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought, but we're just gonna. I know I keep saying this because I don't want to have dead air because I'm a podcaster. But really, we're just here to look at ads. Slick. Hello. Hello. Oh. The minis, really interestingly, have come a huge way. I'm not a minis guy. I appreciate them, but I don't paint them or collect them or anything. But it's interesting to see how the technology is advanced because they look so much better now. The cool chess game that you guys are playing that's on 3. There's the 3-dimensional chess that we've all heard about. So this is great. This is the classified section. So back when tabletop gaming was a lot more quaint, this is how, and pre-internet, this is how you'd get your name out there. One of the things I want to find on here is there's a really cool thing that used to happen back here, which was play by post, where, here we go, check this out. Play by Mail Gamers, other one. She would like call them. You didn't play in person. You would send letters that had your moves, and then you would get like a little newsletter from the DM or the person running the game. That's fascinating to me. Obviously, I wouldn't want to go back there because I like instant gratification. But imagine how exciting that would be to be like a lonely kid and you get that letter. You know, like, oh shit, I got my move for this this game I'm doing. That would just feel like, man, I got a Saturday planned. Like, this is going to be really fun. Oh, This is also a thing. They reviewed computer games. So back in the day, there were a couple magazines that reviewed computer games, but it was rarer than console games. This is like the Game Pro EGM era. What's really interesting is Sandy Peterson of Call of Cthulhu fame, the tabletop game, did a lot of these. Yes. So you end up seeing Sandy Peterson's name a lot in these things, which is kind of cool. And they do console stuff as well. Like there's Fantasy Zone. Every once in a while you'll find stuff here too that never heard about. I love monochrome. Like that's a great illustration to me. I would do a poster of that without the words. Yeah. So we're almost done here, almost through the magazine. I want to get to the comics. Because no elves. Because they're awful. Oh shit. Here we go. All right. This is Dragon Mirth. This is when a dragon laughs. Listen, darling, they're playing our song. So this is the king and the queen here, and that's they're doing the herald thing, and the king and queen like it. Yeah. That's about dwarves. 4 types of trolls: stone troll, cave troll, hill troll, rock troll. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. So this is in kind of mid to early Dragon magazine, where they had multiple comics. The very old ones had this ongoing semi-serialized comic, and it's pretty rough. You can see why this might appeal to me for cross swords reasons. Oh, here we go. Snarf Quest. This is the serialized, kind of serious comic. I'm not going to go through all of it. But again, even when I was like absolutely in the pocket for it, it did not work out for me. Yeah, then Greyhawk. So yeah, Dragon Magazine. I love it. We're going to go through a bunch of these throughout this series if I keep up with it. And we're all going to deal with the vertical orientation, and we're all going to be cool about it. Deal. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. And you have a good day. Bye.